Okay, so we're getting Star Trek Discovery this week, so I guess it's time for a predictions video. As always, I'm Al, this is the Geek in Review, so let's get to it. Now, there has been some details released about the first episode, Kobe Oshimaru, and that name, of course, is going to ring a bell if you're a Star Trek fan. We know that the ship's been trying to unite the remaining Federation planets since we've last seen them. I think they said it was about 3 or 6 months that has passed, so it's not been that long. In this episode, they end up at a starbase, and it seems that they encounter this anomaly. Now, how big this is going to be initially, we just don't know, or where this starbase is, we don't know either. We've had a few scenes, or we've seen at least one scene, of what appears to be Starfleet Command, the remaining captains and admirals, and we know the President of the Federation's there as well. So I think that's probably the start of the episode where assignments are getting handed out, and then Discovery's going to jump, because they're not going to use warp drive, let's be honest, into this space station where they're going to encounter this anomaly. Now, after last season's disappointing, let's put it that way, burn reveal, I think the anomaly is not going to be caused by anything, I can't say man-made, but anything that's been created by a humanoid. It's going to be some sort of natural phenomenon. But how are they going to counteract this, and what sort of threat is it going to be? They mention in one of the trailers that it's 5 light years wide, and that is huge, especially if you're talking about the size of a solar system. It probably could encompass a couple of solar systems, depending on how close they were together. But what causes this? That's going to be very interesting, and of course, what is the solution going to be? Whatever this is, it's going to cause the crew to reunite, because we see Saru back on the ship wearing a Starfleet uniform, and my god, I do not like those uniforms. I mean, they look good, but I said this at the end of the last season when they were still grey. I can't imagine people doing action sequences and running down corridors and jumping about in those uniforms and it looking any good. Just me, let me know what you think of the new uniforms in the comments below. I also think, and spoiler alert if I'm right about this, I've got a feeling in my bones they're going to kill Admiral Vance. Star Trek Discovery has never really forced any great loss or death on these characters. Every time that they have, it's been some sort of fake out, like they've brought Colbert back, that kind of thing, and they've brought Giorgio back. So I think they're going to kill someone, and Vance is a fan favourite, so it'd be very interesting to see how the crew and how Starfleet would deal with the loss of Vance. But speaking of recurring characters, I do hope we get to see Lieutenant Commander Nan come back as well. That was one of my greatest disappointments of Season 3, that they set her up to be a character at the end of Season 2. They gave her a brilliant introduction at the start of Season 2 in Discovery, and then they just squandered her away pretty much in the 3rd or 4th episode of Discovery Season 3, and I was gutted. I was really looking forward to more Nan and seeing what she was going to do and seeing how she was going to interact with the crew, so I hope that she shows back up. I wonder what the sort of subplot in these episodes are going to be for the characters. We know the Adira and Grey thing, that's going to be pretty interesting to see how they're going to bring Grey back. I'm not a big fan of the Grey character, but I absolutely love Adira. I think that's one of the best Star Trek characters that's been introduced to any Star Trek show. And I thought Adira was just going to be the new Wesley Crusher, so I thought I was going to hate them, and it turned out I loved them. So that was another surprise for Season 3. But I don't think hanging Adira's entire story around Grey is a particularly good one. And let me explain the reason for that. Imagine that every scene that Beverly Crusher was in, she just brought up Jack Crusher, and every arc around her was about Jack Crusher. It'd make her character very boring and one-dimensional, and I know she didn't get a lot of story on The Next Generation, but hanging Adira's story over Grey, for me, isn't good for a character and isn't good for character development. Discovery does have a lot of problems when it comes to this, but I'm not going to focus too much on the negatives, because I do think this season is probably going to be a bit more in the right direction. But things that we need to see in this season, we need to see inside one of these futuristic 31st century Federation starships. We need to see exactly what life on board one of these ships is like. We also need a catch up with some of our favourite species. We know what the Romulans are up to. I don't think they're going to touch the Klingons. I think they might mention them, but I don't think we're going to see them this season, because Discovery's burned us too many times with the Klingons. We know we're getting a Ferengi, so it'll be interesting to see what other races pop up. I'd like to find out what's going on with the Cardassians, the Jem'Hadar, and the Vorta, because man, that development of those species after the Dominion War and the Alpha Quadrant would have been very interesting, how it played out and how the power dynamics played out. Did they all stick together? Did they go apart? Was it, the Jem'Hadar, what happened with them? That'd be absolutely fascinating to see how their culture evolved. And also, I'd love to see the Voth back from Voyager, the first species, the dinosaurs that evolved on Earth. This is one of the most underdeveloped story arcs in Star Trek history. Why more people didn't blow their mind when they found out that there was another race on Earth before humans absolutely boggles me. I can't understand it. But I hope to see the Voth, and I want to find out what they've been up to as well, and what their relationship with humanity in the Federation and Starfleet is. We also need to find out exactly where the Federation was before the state of the burn. How much real estate did it occupy in the galaxy? But the one thing that I hope they don't really touch on at all is the Borg. I think the writers are wise enough not to touch them. They might get a few mentions, like I say, like the Klingons, but I don't think we're going to see them on screen. With all things, I think this is going to be good and bad when it comes to Star Trek. I don't love Star Trek Discovery, but I certainly don't hate it, and I'm looking forward to this season. I hope we get more Saru and Tilly development, as well as some stuff from Book and the rest of the crew as well. But we're going to have to wait and see, as always. But let me know, what are you looking forward to in Star Trek Discovery Season 4? You can contact me in the comments below, or you can reach me on Twitter at The Geeks Reviews. My name's Al, thanks for watching.